Hi everyone, my name is Devin with Black Napkin Catering. Thank you so much for joining me for another round. Today I'd like to discuss some basic knife care techniques to help keep your knives in optimal condition. Firstly, we'll be going over the difference between sharpening and honing. We'll be discussing how to care for and use a sharpening stone or a whetstone. And lastly, we'll be going over how to use a honing steel. I'll also leave some additional resources in the comment section below. Let's get started. What I have here is a 2-grit sharpening stone, as well as not a honing steel, but a ceramic honing rod. Personally, I prefer ceramic. You can get them in either steel or ceramic varieties. It's up to you. But while we're on the subject, let's discuss what honing actually does. Honing does not involve sharpening your knife in any way, shape, or form. All you're doing is pushing a bent or deformed edge back into its natural alignment. This, of course, improves cutting, so you're going to notice a difference either way. Of course, no amount of honing is going to repair a dull edge. Once your knife goes dull, you're going to need to create a new edge. Using your sharpening stone, you wipe away old material and begin working it into a newer edge that you can actually cut with. Now, to summarize, the difference is honing is old material, you're realigning, reconditioning old material. Sharpening, you're getting rid of old material and reconditioning new material. Enough theory, let's get into practice. Welcome to a new angle. As you can see, I've got my whetstone. It's a bit darker because I've been soaking it in water for the past 15 minutes. You always want to lubricate your stone in some manner, unless the directions tell you otherwise. Before I go on, I will say you should always follow the manufacturer's guidelines on this. However, lubrication, in my opinion, is paramount to having a better performing stone. What it does is it lubricates it. It helps move away metal shavings from the stone as you're shaving away. And additionally, it helps prevent it from additional wear and tear. So it's a good thing all around. I highly recommend it, but again, if your manufacturer tells you otherwise, who am I to argue? Technique-wise, what you're going to do is run the blade while maintaining even pressure and a static angle across the surface of the stone, almost like you're trying to slice it. Eventually, you're going to need to get to the other side. This side's always a bit trickier for me, just based on the technique I use. If that sound is grating on your ears, I'm sorry. I kind of enjoy it, but I'm a weirdo. So my process is 15 on each side, and then I count down by threes, 12, 9, 6, 3, and then 2 and 1, just for fun. And then, once we're done with that, we're going to move over to the finer grit, and that's how we're going to begin to actually work this into a usable blade. So what you do with your coarser grit, you want to move new material away, remove that so that you can expose a new edge that you can begin working with. Using the finer grit, you sharpen it down into something you can use. All right, I'll see you in a bit. All right, now that our knife has been adequately sharpened, we need to fact check it, if you will, by running a honing rod across it. The best and most stable method is to anchor it using a towel or something on a flat surface, top side down, of course. And you're going to mimic the same process as before, kind of like you're slicing away at it. When it comes to the honing rod, I typically default to 996633, 2211 as well. Not really counting right now, but just demonstrating for the audience. And once we're done with that, give your blade and your stone and your rod a nice wiping down. Make sure you get any metal shavings that piled up out of the way. That's not the iron that you want in your diet. And when you're done, you should do this before and after, kind of give your knife a little grazing, just to test how well we did. And I am very happy with this progress. In summation, what we discussed today were how to care for and use a sharpening stone, how to use a honing steel, and of course the differences between sharpening and honing. Two very important aspects of your knife's overall health and performance. If you don't have a honing steel, I highly suggest you get one. There are very low barriers to entry as far as price is concerned. They're easy to use. I highly suggest you get in the habit of doing so if you already have a honing steel and it's been sitting in your drawer. Sharpening, however, is a different story. I will say that it can be a vexing task. If you feel in any way, shape, or form uncomfortable with the process, please seek out a professional. I will not tell you otherwise. Definitely do not do anything in the kitchen that you aren't comfortable with. Of course, your knives definitely need a tune-up. There's no getting around that. You are going to eventually run out of edge. You are going to eventually run out of material that needs to be reconditioned into something you can use. And most importantly, a sharp knife is a safe knife. If you have a dull knife and you're exerting too much pressure trying to cut through something, you're more likely to lose control, slip up and have an accident. Whereas if you have a properly sharpened knife, like this guy here, there's much less resistance and many more fingers to work with in the kitchen. Again, my name is Devin from Black Napkin Catering. Thank you so much for joining me. See you on the next one.